After he killed me 99 times for his white moonlight, he went mad with regret. My husband killed me 99 times. The most recent time, to save his idealized first love, he pushed me out to block a truck. Calmly, he ordered someone to lift me into the trunk. Emily is pregnant. She can't stand the smell of blood. Don't bleed too much. You'd better control yourself and not die in our car. I didn't speak, just curled up in the trunk, waiting for death to arrive. Someone tried to intervene, but the man was indifferent. She's died 98 times. Every time she wakes up, I look at her, and she only says I'm sorry. Hearing this, everyone in the car paid attention to the trunk, betting $100 million. They bet on whether my first words after coming back to life would be I'm sorry. But they didn't know that after dying 100 times by my lover's hand, my earthly trials were complete, and I was about to ascend to a higher plane of existence. From then on, I would have no more entanglement with earthly love. When I woke up, I was still lying bloody in the trunk. From the front seat came a nearly inaudible sound of vomiting. The man suddenly slammed on the brakes, opened the door indifferently, and met my eyes. If you're alive, get out. Emily is sickened by your smell. I got up from the bloodstain, using the half of my clothes not yet covered in blood to wipe the trunk clean. Emily had a cleanliness fetish. Last time, she was wearing new shoes and didn't want to step on the ground, so the man stripped off my clothes and laid them down for her to walk on. Seeing that I was obedient, Robert's tone softened slightly, a rare occurrence. Be good. After Emily gives birth, I'll. Before he could finish, Emily let out another loud retch. Robert quickly got back into the car, pulling her into his arms to comfort her. Sternly, he called James, butler, and ordered him to bring a new car within 10 minutes. The first time I died in front of him, he was just as anxious. A vicious diving instructor had held him underwater, not letting him surface. I had saved him desperately, losing my own life in the process. My body convulsed, my face turning purple. Before losing consciousness, I heard him crying and shouting for help. Someone save her. I'll give my life for her. But later, after 3 times, 10 times, 99 times, he faced my death without batting an eye. He even treated me as a toy to appease Emily. The wind blew, snapping me back to reality. I walked past the car and forward. But the man called out coldly, stopping me. Didn't you forget something? I'm sorry. Every time I revived, he always made me apologize to Emily. Sorry, I made Emily nauseous. Sorry, I died again and scared her. I said it calmly, straightened up, and continued walking forward. Perhaps because I was too submissive this time, Robert's voice suddenly changed pitch. This car is dirty. You deal with it. We'll go back with James. He got out of the car, shielding Emily's belly, his brows tightly furrowed. I had been pregnant too. But when I was 3 months along, the dog I kept scared Emily. Robert put 2 Tibetan Mastiffs in the house, and they bit me and the baby in my belly. He said, you can have another child, but if I don't teach you a lesson, you'll never know your place. Now, I could never get pregnant again, and I knew my place. We finally arrived home. The 2 of them walked in, embracing. James, however, stopped me with a troubled look. Apologies, madam, Mr. Robert said Ms. Emily can't smell blood. With that, he took a high-pressure hose and sprayed me. The bone-piercing pain made me curl up on the ground helplessly. The 10 agonizing minutes finally ended. I walked into the bathroom, head down and feeling pathetic. Only the final death remained, only the final death. Robert, she didn't die 99 times. If our baby could also. I know a laboratory where they can perform dissection on people with unique physiology. Dissection? Robert's voice was low. We'll talk about this later. After a moment of silence, Emily broke the awkwardness by asking, are these fresh mangoes? Seeing me come out, she walked up to me, sister, can you help me check if they're fresh? I'm pregnant, I can only eat fresh ones. Staring at my pale lips, Robert's chest visibly rose and fell. I was allergic to mangoes. He still remembered. He thought, she's been through enough today, let someone else test it. He was about to refuse. But I took the mango from Emily's hand without hesitation and stuffed the whole thing into my mouth like a juice spilled from the corner of my mouth. Excellent. The final death was finally coming. However, before I could swallow, Robert quickly walked over, pinched the back of my neck, and forced me to spit it out. He slapped my face, his entire face pale with rage. Are you trying to die like this? Do you remember you're allergic to mangoes? Dying once a day isn't enough? Holding my burning cheek, I desperately swallowed the residue in my mouth. Hearing Robert's approaching footsteps, I slowly closed my eyes. The man sighed, a rare sound, and pinched my cheek. Spit it out. It was too late. A wave of suffocation surged up my throat, and I unconsciously began to gasp for air. At this moment, Emily suddenly vomited. Hearing this, Robert immediately let go of me and rushed to hold Emily. The mango smells awful. James rushed over, saw the mess on the ground, and exclaimed in panic, "Madam is having an allergic reaction." Doctor! Hesitating for 2 seconds, Robert scooped up Emily in his arms. See to Emily first. Cover Madam's mouth and lock her in the bathroom. Don't let any mango smell get out. James was sweating profusely, unsure what to do for a moment. But I got up myself, leaned against the wall, and walked haltingly to the bathroom, locking myself in. Eyed. Robert watched my retreating back, his brows tightly furrowed. He really didn't understand what I was thinking. Did I need to die again to be happy? Or was I trying to get his attention this way? I clearly wouldn't die. But he didn't say anything. When I woke up again, I sighed with difficulty. The dose was too small, I didn't die. I turned my head. A bottle of allergy medicine was on the nightstand, with a note tucked underneath. Take the medicine when you wake up. I'll come see you later. There was no signature, but his handwriting was too familiar. A long time ago, we used to write notes often. Notes with his care were posted on the refrigerator every day. Wear more clothes when it's cold, don't eat ice cream during your period, call him to come home after social events. Later, we got a new refrigerator, and neither of us mentioned the notes again. Are you unhappy that you didn't die? Robert walked in, his face expressionless. I realized I had just sighed again. Did you take the medicine? Next time, don't be foolish enough to stuff something you're allergic to into your mouth. He reached out, wanting to stroke the woman before him. But he hadn't done that in a long time. Never mind. He withdrew his hand. Robert, I'm sorry, I made Emily vomit again. Dissect me, or just kill me. I picked up the medicine bottle from the nightstand, poured all the pills out, and shoved them into his hand. Just like this, hand them to me and let me take them. I was too abnormal. Robert was stunned for several seconds. Clara, are you insane? Do you want to die that badly? He threw all the pills in his hand onto the ground, his voice almost a snarl. You want to die? I won't let you. After saying this, he stood frozen for a long time. He hadn't been this angry in a long time. He was Robert, he shouldn't lose his composure like this. He loosened his tie and sat down with a cold face. Stop throwing a tantrum. You won't die. We ked before and don't know what the problem is. I recently acquired a laboratory. We'll take some blood and see. Maybe it can help the baby in Emily's belly. Before he could finish, I held out my arm. Draw it, as much as possible. Robert felt a strange tightness in his chest. But he had already promised Emily that he would find the secret of my body for the child. So he forced himself to suppress his unusual feelings and called a doctor. A needle as thick as a baby's arm was inserted into my vein. I didn't tell Robert. From the first time I died for him, I knew I could only die 100 times. After dying 100 times by his hand, my earthly trials were complete, and I would go to a place no one could find. From then on, I would have no more entanglement with earthly love. Robert's phone rang. He answered coldly without looking back. I'll pick you up for the laboratory tomorrow. The doctor paused. Mr. Robert, given Madam's condition, she needs temporary rest. The man's footsteps paused. He replied impatiently, she won't die. The doctor's forehead beaded with cold sweat. He didn't dare speak again. However, in the following days, Robert didn't come to pick me up. But our joint account had many new orders. Matching down jackets, winter gear set, wool socks, sled. Unconsciously, I remembered the time we went to Antarctic together. Emily found out somehow and followed us all the way. She wore only a hoodie, risking her life, shivering and her lips turning purple from the cold. Robert went mad, putting his own clothes on her. Feeling that wasn't enough, he stripped the clothes off me as well. Emily shivered and cried in his arms. Sister doesn't like me following you, and threw away all my clothes. Robert, but I want to see the penguins with you too. Robert cursed me, calling me vicious and jealous. You're so wicked. Go taste what it's like to freeze to death in Antarctic. After that, they left me alone in Antarctic. WHE. And I died. I was only wearing a single layer of clothing. Pulling back my thoughts, I bought them a pair of matching goggles. Then, I silently removed myself from Robert's joint account. A moment later, Robert sent me a message. Just a single question mark. I didn't reply. Soon, familiar footsteps approached. Get ready, we're going to the laboratory. I lowered my eyes and obediently got up. Emily appeared from behind Robert, smiling at me. Sister, you've worked so hard drawing so much blood for the baby. But if the experiment doesn't yield results, we might have to trouble you further. Anyway, you won't die, sister. How about you get on the experiment table and let us perform dissection on you? Just for Robert's child. All right. I agreed without hesitation. Robert's face darkened, his tone displeased. We'll talk about this later. A hint of jealousy flashed in Emily's eyes and quickly disappeared. The three of us got into the car. Robert turned on the music. Emily complained, hitting the man's chest playfully. Why are you playing jazz? I hate it. Robert quickly apologized, but then looked at me through the rearview mirror. I liked jazz. When he realized this, he frowned inwardly, feeling a bit annoyed. But he found that I didn't care at all. The shadow in my heart had grown heavier these past few days. Even when Emily talked to him the whole way, he only replied absent-mindedly. Upon arriving at the laboratory, the person in charge came up solicitously. He joked to Emily, "How loving, Madam Emily. You wouldn't believe how many things Mr. Robert has sent over these past few days, all treasures worth a fortune." His gaze shifted over to me, and he asked knowingly, "The new experiment subject, I presume?" Robert frowned and changed the subject. "How were the blood samples sent a few days ago?" "The results are out. The regeneration factor inside is slowly decreasing." The person in charge invited Robert into the laboratory to see. Worried about radiation inside, Robert affectionately told Emily to wait outside. As soon as Robert left, Emily's expression changed instantly. She held a small medicine bottle, her eyes filled with resentment. "Clara, you've been through so many times and still can't die. You're really resilient. How about we make a bet? We'll bet on who Robert cares about more. Whoever loses leaves automatically." There was nothing to bet on. I was bound to lose. "I bet Robert will dissect you." "Don't worry. After dissecting you, I'll have the people in the laboratory say you're completely dead, and then you'll leave. Never appear before us again." "Fine." I agreed readily. Emily had prepared a whole speech, but she didn't expect me to agree so quickly. She took my hand and guided it to her neck. She swallowed the medicine in her hand in one gulp. Emily suddenly foamed at the mouth, fell straight down, and made a loud noise. I was startled, my legs went weak, and I collapsed to the ground. Robert's voice came from far away, getting closer. "Clara." When he saw the situation clearly, he rushed to Emily without hesitation, panicking, "Emily! Wake up! Clara! What have you done?" The person in charge ran over, wiping sweat, and immediately understood the situation. After examining her, he proposed the best solution to Robert. "Madam's pregnancy is unstable, and now she's suffocating. She might not make it. I need to quickly dissect that experiment subject to find a possibility of survival." Robert glanced at me, his chest rising abnormally. "Dissect her? Soon, I was pushed onto the experiment table, waiting for my final death. At the last moment, as the anesthetic was injected into my vein, I saw Emily smiling with a hook at the corner of her lips. Don't worry. After dissecting you, I'll send you to the crematorium. No matter how amazing you are, you can't revive from ashes. And Robert's heart that had jumped into his throat, and his HTLY furrowed brows. I closed my eyes. My 100 death trials were complete. From now on, I would have no more entanglement with Robert. A few days later, Emily woke up in the hospital. Robert immediately held her, but the joy of recovering her didn't make him particularly happy. Robert, you scared me. I really thought I was going to die. Clara suddenly went crazy and choked me without letting go. Hearing the familiar name, the man paused slightly. His mind was filled with the image of the woman being dissected right before his eyes. As the scalpel slowly cut open her skin, he felt something quietly being cut away from him too. He was restless. After comforting the beauty in his arms, he stood alone in the corridor. His finger hovered over my phone number, hesitating to press it. She must be alive again, he thought. He hadn't heard her say she was sorry yet. He thought for a moment and sent a text message. Shouldn't you come over and apologize? Emily almost had a miscarriage because of you. Come to the hospital and apologize. A moment later, he added, if you're in pain, you can come later. The sun and Robert's face darkened together. Robert, are you waiting for me? I probably can't be discharged today. Robert came back to himself, realizing he had been sitting in the hospital for a long time. He nodded, got up, and opened his phone again. No reply. Angry? It couldn't be. Which time before wasn't worse than this? This time it was a matter of life and death. She was a sensible woman. She would understand. He called the hospital director and scheduled a full physical examination for 3 days later. Ms. Emily just had her checkup. Is it Mr. Robert who needs the examination? Robert's throat tightened. The words for my wife were on the tip of his tongue for a long time before he finally spoke them. Come to the hospital for a checkup in 3 days, be good. In his view, saying something like this, showing me this much was already giving me a way out. I should crawl out no matter what in 3 days. 3 days later, he waited at the hospital all day. No one came. Until a familiar figure appeared, and he rushed up to her. Robert, are you here to pick me up from the hospital? Didn't you say you were very busy today? Emily smiled sweetly, hooking her arm through his. He gave her a perfunctory kiss on the forehead. Yes, I came to pick you up after I finished my work. Emily paused, asking, is work not going well? Your tone is so cold. Robert forced a smile and shook his head. Nothing's not going well. Just some disobedient people. I'll deal with them slowly later. After sending Emily home, he went to the laboratory. He remembered the person in charge mentioning that the regeneration factor in my body was decreasing, and his eyelid twitched. Where did Madame go after she woke up? Madame said she was wrong. Wrong? Wrong for not killing Ms. Emily. Robert felt his worries were unfounded. Unrepentant. He cursed and left without looking back. Back home, he sent another warning, get back here and apologize. Clara, I'm giving you 3 more days. If you don't come back yourself, you'll regret it when I find you. 3 days passed. Robert sat on the leather sofa, in a bad mood. Even Emily didn't dare to provoke him. The doorbell rang. The man unconsciously tugged at the corner of his mouth, stopped James who was going to open the door, and opened it himself. The person who came was a stranger, holding a white urn. Excuse me, is this Miss Clarishan's home? I'm her husband. What is it? Stared at coldly by the man, the person shivered. He hurriedly handed the urn to Robert. This is Miss Shan's ashes, sent to our crematorium 7 days ago. No one came to claim them. According to the crematorium's regulations, we have to deliver them ourselves. Ashes? Robert stood rooted to the spot, trying to process the words. What did he mean, Clar? Shan's ashes? He must be mistaken. Clara couldn't die. He came back to his senses and wanted to call out to the person, but found that they had run away at some point. He felt panicked. If she was cremated, could she still revive? Or was this another trick she was playing on him? Was she still angry? Was it just because of Emily? Which man in this world didn't have an idealized first love? But no woman had ever made such a scene because of her husband's idealized first love. She was too immature. He needed to teach her himself. He expressionlessly placed the urn on the ground, got on his private jet, and flew to my hometown/family home. In his eyes, these were the only places I could go. Unfortunately, there was not a single trace. He meticulously measured every place I might appear with his leather shoes. Even when his feet blistered, he couldn't get a single piece of news. His heart pounded incessantly. He kept rubbing his temples. How far was she going to take this? Mr. Robert, how about we check the surveillance footage? He woke up as if from a dream and immediately told the driver to turn around and go to the laboratory to check the surveillance footage. The person in charge wiped away cold sweat and said the surveillance was broken. Of course, he didn't believe it and insisted on seeing for himself. He called a hacker from his company to restore the complete data. Only then did he discover that Emily had swallowed the medicine herself and had placed my hand on her neck herself. All of this was a play directed and performed by Emily. Seeing that the truth was exposed, the person in charge's legs went weak, and he directly knelt down. Mr. Robert, Ms. Emily ordered me to do it. She told me to develop the choking drug so she could suffocate for a short time. She instructed me, saying that dissecting Madam was the only way to save her, and she also told me to send Madam directly to the crematorium after the dissection. Seeing that you didn't give instructions, I thought it was your and Ms. Emily's joint intention. Robert's head buzzed. In a blank state, he tightly gripped the person in charge's collar. Tell me, if she's cremated, can Clara still live? The person in charge's face was pale, and he slowly shook his head. What did that mean? She couldn't live? Impossible. She had been perfectly fine all 99 times before. He sped home, his face grim, and opened the door. Emily was still wearing an apron, making soup to please him. The woman walked over cautiously with a bowl, gently blowing on the spoon, and held it to his mouth. Robert, taste this quickly. I made the soup myself. Look how heavy your dark circles are. Do you have something on your mind? You haven't cared about me and the baby lately. The baby is complaining about you. Before she could finish, Robert grabbed her wrist with a cold face. The woman flinched in fright, spilling the soup on the ground. The scalding water splashed onto her legs, and she couldn't help but let out a soft scream. What did you say to her? Emily's eyes turned red. She shook her head, confused. Robert pulled them closer, his voice almost a snarl. That day of the dissection, what did you say to her? Emily's face turned pale. She knew everything was exposed. But so what? She was still carrying Robert's child. I made a bet with her, betting on whether you would choose me or her. Robert, in your heart, I'm still more important. Do you know how touched I was? Before, when you said how much you loved me, I was afraid. Only this time, I truly felt your love. I won. You personally ordered her dissection. Robert took a deep breath and heavily let go of Emily. The woman didn't stand steady and fell straight to the ground. Emily, how dare you? She cried tearfully. Why wouldn't I dare? So what if I did it? I'm still carrying your child. Robert, are you regretting it now? Robert's gaze shifted to the woman's slightly bulging abdomen. Move out. We'll settle everything after you give birth. Emily's tears gushed out. What do you mean? Robert, are you going to abandon me again? Are you even a man? You came looking for me, made me the mistress who destroyed your family. You indulged me, letting me do whatever I wanted, even step all over your wife. Robert, you killed her 100 times. A crack appeared on Robert's stern face. Shut up. What kind of person I am is not for you to judge. He gave the cold order, telling James to take Emily away. He then tried every possible way to decorate the house to look like I had never left. He called my number thousands of times, asked thousands of relevant people, but still got no news. He started searching for me in different places himself. If he couldn't find me domestically, he'd go abroad. He went to remote towns in various countries, asking people with my photo. He found many people who looked very similar to me. Thousands of hopes turned into bubbles. He found nothing. Until late one night a year later. He was drunk and collapsed in front of the mountain retreat. The master found him and performed a ritual. That day, he had a rare dream. He dreamed of me. I also found it strange that I was doing perfectly fine in the heavens, and suddenly I was pulled into a mortal's dream. The surroundings were terrifyingly quiet. Everything was familiar, yet I couldn't remember anything. Suddenly, someone from behind held me tightly. A hoarse voice tinged with alcohol, as if after surviving a disaster. "Clara, I finally found you." I forcefully broke free from his embrace. "I'm sorry." "Who are you?" Perhaps he was a friend from the lower realm. But to ascend to the upper realm, one must cut off all earthly affection, so naturally, the memories were gone too. The man's body stiffened, and his face showed an expression that was almost crying, almost not. "You don't remember me, or you haven't forgiven me yet." Without waiting for me to speak, the man continued on his own. "I understand. Coming to see you like this was too insincere." He finished speaking, the dream ended, and I returned to the heavens. After Robert woke up, he asked the master many questions. The master concluded. He had a connection with me, so when death approached, he would see me in his dreams. He seemed to understand something. So the next time I saw him, he was lying on the ground, dying, spitting water from his mouth, as if he was about to drown. Seeing me come, his eyes still lit up. "Clara, you're here. This is just the first step. Once I walk your path step by step, you'll definitely stop being angry." Of course, I didn't understand, nor was I willing to interfere with mortal affairs. I just stood there, listening to him chatter. Perhaps we had something before, but that was in the past. The third time, he was lying in the snow, naked from the waist up, his body purple with cold. "Was it this cold for you back then?" He asked me this. "Maybe." After I replied, he used the last of his strength to smile. He was very happy. Today, I had spoken to him even if it was only one sentence. This made him believe his method was correct. This was the fastest and best way he could think of to make me forgive him. Next, 10 times, 20 times. Being bitten by dogs, being hit by cars. He tried all sorts of ways to die. I really didn't have the energy to play with him anymore. He was bothering me. "Stop." I spoke coldly. "Robert, right. Please stop using this self-destructive method to summon me. I have my own things to do, and you're causing me a lot of trouble. Moreover, constantly trying to die is a waste of social resources." Robert was still shaking, cold sweat and blood soaking through his shirt, but he still stood straight. The prolonged torment had made him skin and bones. He managed a smile, but it hurt so much he closed his eyes. "Understood. You're still angry because Emily is still here, right? Don't worry, she's about to give birth to the baby. She'll definitely get to taste the suffering you went through." A sinister expression flashed across his face and quickly disappeared. Soon, he started talking about the past again. "Before, I used to write notes for you all the time, but later we got a new refrigerator, and I wrote less. I'm making it up to you now." He staggered and shoved a bloody note into my hand. Before leaving the dream, I heard him chuckle. My palm was warm. The note clearly read, "Don't forget me." I threw it away without a ripple of emotion. I had already forgotten. Robert recuperated in the hospital for 3 months. The day he was discharged, Emily went into labor. He specifically instructed the doctor to perform a C-section without anesthesia. No doctor dared to take the job, so he took Emily to the laboratory. The person in charge was sweating profusely, scared stiff. But he still had to perform the surgery with a stiff upper lip. Emily went mad, from begging to cursing, and finally, only painful wails remained. The baby's cries became her death countdown. She didn't get to see her child. And the child's father just stood there, waiting coldly for her death. Robert, may you die a horrible death. Do you think Clarishan will come back if I die? Let me tell you, she won't. She's already dead. Sent to the dissection table by your own hands, watched as she was dissected to death. Emily laughed maniacally, her face flushed red. Shut up. Hearing my name, the man's expression finally softened slightly. But it wasn't pity, it was resentment. It was all this woman's fault. If it weren't for her, how would he have lost me? How would he have watched me die again and again until I could never live again, becoming a pile of ashes? But it didn't matter. I was still alive. He could still see me in his dreams. Emily painfully clutched her wound and coughed up a mouthful of blood. Her eyes were wide with fury. Clarishan is truly pathetic, falling for someone like you. Do you remember? You set dogs on her, scaring her until she screamed and knelt on the ground begging you to take the dogs away. But what did you do? You were kissing me. Also, you stripped off her clothes to make a path for me. She was naked in front of everyone, begging you to leave her something to cover herself, and you didn't even look back. And after all that, you still expect her to forgive you. Robert, you're too confident. Robert's face grew darker and darker, the pressure around him dropping lower and lower. Every scene Emily described had never been so clear in his mind. It turned out that every time I died, I had desperately pleaded with him. But not once had he ever stopped. He couldn't accept himself like this. He could only choose to silence Emily. He walked forward, opened his large hand, and squeezed her throat. Tightened it. The woman's choking hoarse sounds finally drowned out her incessant chatter. The world became quiet. Emily died by his hand. When the police came to arrest him, he was stuffing peeled lychees into his mouth. A large bowl of peeled lychees was in front of him, and he just kept stuffing them in by the handful. He was allergic to lychees. Before he passed out, the police saw a smile in his eyes. As expected, we met again. This time, he was more excited than ever before. He rushed over, grabbed my hand, like a child showing off his achievement. Emily is dead. Just like before, I avenged you. Clara, you're not angry anymore, are you? Emily is dead, and the barrier between us is gone. From now on, we can start over. I pulled my hand free from his grasp. What exactly do you want? To be with you, to start over. He answered without hesitation. I'm no longer in the same world as you. There's no possibility bet we and us. Robert shook his head. No, you can come down and be with me. So you want me to forgive you so I can give up my carefree, happy life and suffer with you in the lower realm? Robert froze for a moment. He wanted to say no, but what he wanted was indeed just that. You are very selfish. Accept your own punishment. After saying this, I left his dream without hesitation. After he woke up, he became listless. No matter what the police asked or said, he just nodded, not hiding his crimes at all. So he became the first person from the Robert family to go to prison. The Robert family was ashamed of him, considering him a black sheep. They disowned him from the Robert family. Overnight, he went from Mr. Robert to a criminal. But he showed no reaction. He just wanted to see me a few more times. But the prison was strictly guarded, he couldn't find any opportunity. I also had a long period of leisure and met a new lover in the heavens. He was very good to me, putting me first in everything, with no hidden secrets. Most importantly, he didn't have a so-called idealized first love. So, after Robert was released from prison, the first time he died, what he saw was my hand intertwined with my lover's. Robert's smile froze on his face. He had come to see me full of anticipation, enduring immense pain just to see me, only to see me with another man. His heart ached dully. More than every death he had experienced. Clara, he spoke in a hoarse voice. I introduced my lover, holding his hand, my lover. A taste of blood surged up Robert's throat, and he forced it down. Although he clenched his fists to stay calm, his twisted expression betrayed him. Then what am I? A stranger from the lower realm, I answered without hesitation. Robert stumbled backward, barely able to support himself. My lover stepped forward, a slight warning in his tone. Mister from the lower realm, please stop disturbing Clara again and again. She is very troubled. You are strangers to begin with. Trying to bind her with your feelings is not the act of a man. Robert finally spat out a mouthful of blood. He roared at us, using almost all his strength. Not strangers. She's my wife. I was slightly stunned. My subconscious told me that he rarely lost his composure like this. He should be indifferent, yet he was rattled by a few words. I'm sorry, Mr. Robert, you and I are truly not husband and wife. I don't remember you at all, neither your name, nor your appearance, nor the things you told me we experienced together. Perhaps you have an obsession, and you still have feelings for me, but for me, it has no connection. In my eyes, my only relationship with you is that of strangers. I took my lover's hand and approached him step by step. As you can see, I have a lover. Please stop bothering me. Robert lay on the ground, dying. He was like a lost soul who had lost its spirit, drifting in the human world, not knowing where to go. He started numbing himself with alcohol, spending every day in bars. When people mentioned him, they would only say the drunken madman from the Robert family who had been in prison. All his former glory, his former honors, were gone forever. He went to a tattoo parlor and had my name tattooed on his palm. He thought that this way, he could hold on to me tightly, and I would never run away again. But every time he woke up in the middle of the night, his eyes were red, asking me why I didn't come to see him. Actually, I did go. We only had 100 meetings. For 90 of them, I didn't say a word. On the 99th time, he asked me, is there only one more time left? I didn't know how he knew, but I could only nod. He smiled with relief. He didn't say anything more. After waking up, he went to the mountain retreat, determined to practice spiritual discipline there until he died. I thought that our entanglement had ended like this. After all, he never tried to die again. But the night before I was to marry my lover, we met again. Robert had aged a lot. To be precise, he was about to die. This time, he was truly going to die. In the previous years, he had abused his body 99 times, leaving behind chronic illnesses and severely depleting his health. When he saw me, I was still wearing the dress I would wear for the wedding tomorrow. A nostalgic expression appeared on his face. You were just as beautiful the day I married you. We got married by the sea. You said you liked the sound of the waves. He spoke, his voice so hoarse I didn't dare recognize it. I also remember you cried, saying marrying me was your biggest wish. I wiped your tears, afraid you'd ruin your makeup and regret it later. He was lost in memories, unable to pull himself out. As before, I just listened silently, offering no comments. After a long time, he finally finished reminiscing. I'm going to die, he said. We both knew it. He bowed, 90 degrees, to me. I'm sorry, Clarishan. I owe you many apologies, but I never said them. Before I die, I'll make up for it. Before, I didn't understand my own heart. I was obsessed with Emily, letting her hurt you, letting myself hurt you. Every time you died, I pretended I didn't care. Pretending for so long made it real. He gave a bitter smile. Fortunately, you're doing well now. Does he love you? He asked me. His eyes were full of pleading. I nodded. At least for now. I didn't expect what the future held. I could only grasp the happiness of the present. That's good. I wish you well, Clarishan. I wish you happiness forever. He didn't close his eyes for a long time, seemingly wanting to engrave my appearance deeply in his memory. Thank you, I replied. He smiled, and his life ended at that second. I walked forward and saw a note still lying in his hand. It was crumpled from being squeezed. I knelt down to look. Written on it, stroke by stroke, was, Clarishan, I love you. If we meet in the next life, I will love you properly. I'm sorry. Looking closely, It was stained with moisture. Perhaps it was his tears. But I only glanced at it and tucked it back into his hand. Robert died. Not a trace of sadness welled up in my heart. Because I had my happiness, and a new life waiting for me.